Everybody can bear with me. Most of you know, I'm Kathy Hansen, for those of you who don't know me, and I'm the State Lead Ambassador for the American Cancer Society Cancer Action. I'm a longtime volunteer and a 7-year breast cancer survivor and a lifelong resident of Wisconsin. And as such, I'm excited and honored to be able to present Governor Doyle with the National Distinguished Advocacy Award today. The Distinguished Advocacy Award is the most prestigious honor given by ACS CAN for outstanding work and consistent leadership in the fight against cancer through public policy. And even though we may be familiar with Governor Doyle's efforts, I think it's worthwhile to take a minute to review them, since that's our reason for gathering today. So Governor Doyle has been a tireless champion in this fight through his dedication to reducing tobacco use, both as Attorney General and as our governor, and in improving the health care for people who live in Wisconsin. Starting in 2007, Governor Doyle began a 3-step approach to reducing tobacco's burden in Wisconsin. First with a 75-cent pack cigarette tax increase, and then a $1 increase. Higher tobacco taxes are a proven way to stop our kids from starting to smoke and to prompt adults to quit. The second prong in this attack was increasing funding for the state's tobacco control program by 50% in 2007, and there was another increase in 2008.
I know it was a great event. I've seen the picture of Andrew Moyer on my Andrew deserves it. He was working away at many of these things as well. But the American Cancer Society is just an extraordinary organization that you all know. And from the earliest days of this fight, when I was the Attorney General, and at that time there was a governor here who really didn't want to join the big lawsuits that were going on, and we couldn't get any funding to get started in the lawsuit. And the American Cancer Society stepped forward and actually helped. It was one of the partners in the very beginning that helped fund the beginning of that lawsuit. That lawsuit resulted in the biggest settlement of all time, I think over $50 billion, of which the state received a huge amount and ended up wasting it, which is the reason I'm standing in this office. But it also did a lot of other things that you all ought to take real pride in. You know, Joe Camel at the time of that lawsuit was more widely recognized in the world than Mickey Mouse. And so those cartoon depictions, a major tightening up all over the country, including here in Wisconsin, on sales to youth. A few of you who are up in my age group, and you can even be a lot younger than that, just remember vending machines and all kinds of places that young people had access to tobacco, that just now, if you were to walk into a place that wasn't an age-restricted place and see a vending machine, you'd wonder, what even is that thing? The very major advertising restrictions, they'd come off television before, but those ads, remember, of people sailing boats and playing sports and smoking. So the lawsuit at the American Cancer Society here in Wisconsin was so vital, made huge changes in tobacco marketing, and led, by the way, when that settlement came through, that was the single biggest decrease in smoking in history, when the cost of that settlement was added to the cost of cigarettes. And then in Wisconsin, we have fought hard against some very entrenched interests and you all know well, and have been there the whole way, that for the three-prong approach that we have set out. But there's no doubt that the tobacco tax has had an enormous difference. I had a man come up to me once. I have these sorts of things happen quite a bit, but one that really stuck out. He said, "You know, I'm a Republican, and I want to say that my wife is so mad at you for the cigarette tax increase that she isn't smoking, and so I tell her, every time you're reaching for that, you're not smoking, that's great, and take your anger out on Governor Doyle." And then he said, "But you know, I'm really, really thankful for what happened." And she's really thankful as well. And we do know that for teen smokers and those starting, and you all have been just instrumental in all of the educational work you do and all of the outreach and all the work you do with the FACT group and the others that are out there working on this, that the price point is just critical for teenagers starting to smoke. And we now are seeing teenage smoking at the lowest levels in history in this state, and that's a really, really good thing. In the course of the lawsuit, I learned a lot about what was going on here, and we learned from the records of the tobacco companies themselves that they specifically targeted young people because they know that if you don't get them at 14, 15, 16, you're never going to get a smoker. But if you do get them, you've got a customer for life. I say this all the time. Probably many of you have heard me say this, but I throw this challenge out to people, which is show me one person over 21 years of age who has never smoked, who says, you know, I've thought this all over, I've gone on the internet, I've done the medical research, I've talked to friends, I've looked at the various brands, and I've decided I'm going to start smoking, and I'm going to start smoking this brand of cigarette. I always hesitate when I throw that up because somebody probably somewhere will do it. But in all the years that I have thrown that challenge out there, I have yet to have anybody come up and say, I made a conscious adult decision that I thought it was a good thing to start smoking, and so I've started. So it's that effort that we make with young people that is really critical. And of course, I was like all of you, when July 5th rolled around, and again, you know, the political compromise is we had to give them the July 4th weekend to have one more big smoke weekend. But I don't know about you, but it's very predictable. I do not have people coming up to me and complaining. In fact, I was at a golf course and sort of a regular, you know, not a fancy country club, and I played there a little bit, and I won't name it to not embarrass the guy, but the guy came up and he behind the bar who owns the place, and good guy, I've known for a long time, but he's a guy that has lived in a bar most of his life, and he came out and he said, I want to talk to you about this smoking, man. I thought, oh God, I got to hear it. And he said, I have been breathing that stuff for the last 30 years. This is the best thing that's happened. And I've heard that. I've heard that from people. I've heard that quite a bit from people who are employed in bars. I was recently at a meeting with the tourism industry, which is interesting in Wisconsin, the Tourism Council, and quite a number of people from the tourism hospitality business. They actually gave me recognition for the band. That's how important it was to them. And these are people that are inviting or hoping customers are coming into their restaurants and facilities, and they said it is really important. So this is really a big step forward. And it could never have happened without the American Cancer Society. So I really am deeply honored by this, but you really deserve so much of the credit. You've just been a great partner with me every step of the way. And I'm just, you know, when we all look back at this and sort of look at our accomplishments in life, I really hope that one of the things we can all say some number of years from now is that there are a lot less people smoking, a lot less people's lives that have been affected. Let me just finally say something about cancer in general and about generally healthcare. I'm like every other family in the world. My father died of cancer. My mother suffered through breast cancer that affected her health for a long time. My family isn't any different than probably everybody's family that is standing here. To support the research and to support the patients and to support good medical care for people. You think about where we are now compared to where we were 20 years, 40 years, 60 years ago. We've made just huge, huge progress. And that's, the American Cancer Society has been at the center of all of that. And I'm just, just personally for my family, I'm very thankful for all of the cancer advocacy and work that has gone on. And I hope that for other generations of my family coming along, maybe they actually might live in a world that's cancer-free, but they certainly will live in a world where cancer is not a death sentence, and they will live in a world in which there will be fewer cancers, and I think there's no doubt that that will happen because of the work of you all. So thank you all.